WCOP General Professor Subhashini Garu, Professor V. Suresh, Treasurer WCOP, and Chief Guest Professor Dr. Shivakumar S. Chengti, and today's guest of honor Professor Vimla Garu, and the special invitee Dr. S. Vidyarani Garu. And I also invite all the WCOP Executive Committee members and core committee members and beloved participants a hearty welcome once again. As program coordinator, I would like to invite everyone for this session. Now I request Professor B.G. Reddy Garu, WCOP President, to initiate the program.
Everyone, I welcome today's chairperson, my good friend, Professor Shivakumar Chenti from Gulbarga University, Karnataka, and chief patron and chairman of this training program, Professor Vedagiri Ganeshan sir, Arun Singh, another patron, and the Professor Subhashini, the General Secretary of WCOP, and Professor Suresh, Treasurer of WCOP. Then another core committee members of WCOP, executive committee members of WCOP, and our chairperson, once again, our Professor Shivakumar Chenti, another special invitee, Professor Vimala, and another special invitee, Vidyarani, and course coordinator, Ashok, then repertoire the program, Tinny Simon, and our beloved participants. I once again welcome you all to this 20th session of this 3 months training program on school counseling. Okay. Once again, I am handovering the mic to our coordinator of this program, Rama Devi.
Thank you, sir. So it's I would like you to all meet our chief guest for today's session, Dr. Shivakumar S. Chengti. So let me introduce you all about him. So Dr. Shivakumar Chengti was born in Mahagaon on Gulbarga district and had his early education in his village. He completed his BA degree with psychology as major subject in the year 1981 and in MA in the year 1983 from Karnataka University, Dharwad. He completed his BEd and PG diploma in applied psychology in 1985 and 1986 respectively. He has obtained his PhD degree in 1994 from Karnataka University, Dharwad. Dr. Chengti is a committed teacher and researcher. He served in Veterinary College, Bidar, and in Agricultural College, Raichur, before he joined Gulbarga University in 1987. He has put in 26 years of teaching experience in Gulbarga University. He served as a lecturer, reader, and now is professor of psychology for the past 16 years. Dr. Chengti is an active member of several professional bodies like Indian Association of Mental Health, National Academy of Psychology, Academy of Psychologists, Indian Academy of Applied Psychology, etc. He has served 4 times as chairman of Psychology Department, Gulbarga University, and Academic Council member of twice. Dr. Chengti has produced about 25 PhD candidates and about 45 MPhil degrees. He has published more than 50 research papers in the reputed journals. He has attended many national and international conferences and chaired the sessions in the conferences organized in various universities. He has also conducted a national conference on mental health in the year 2005 and a seminar on counseling needs in 2007. He has delivered several special lectures on mental health, stress, organization behavior, social change and modernization, research methodology, personality development, teaching and learning skills, etc. He has been an active teacher and researcher. He is a research consultant. Thank you very much, sir. We are very happy and it's a privilege to have you here for this, to have such a learner personality and an eminent personality. I heartily welcome you, sir. And I would like to request you to say a few words to the group.
Thank you, Professor Reddy Garu, and all the distinguished officials of this WCO. I'm very happy I'm sorry, something went wrong with connection.
It is audible, sir.
No, the video I think I have lost video. Anyway, Professor Reddy Garu and all the office bearers of this WCOP. I am happy to be associated for to this today's program. And when Professor Reddy sir told me that there is a session, continuous session, which he has been doing for the last several sessions he conducted. And for one or the other reason, I could not attend these because I have once again got certain commitments in our university, particularly in the absence of some faculties in our department. Anyway, I'm happy to be here. And I don't know who is the resource person speaking today. Anyway, I will be waiting for the research person to tell something, and later on, I think I'll be telling about the session and the remarks that I would like to give later on in the final. Thank you.
That's a kind gesture, sir. So it's time for us to time for me to introduce our today's resource person. He is none other than BG Reddy, sir. So
I see. Nice to listen to him.
We too, sir.
Yeah.
There is an error. Under Chini Simon also, there is an error that for her also we have given resource person. That is an error. But today, I am the resource person.
Oh, nice, sir. Yeah. Nice. It was very rare that I could listen your words for a long time. I missed that. Let me enjoy your.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, sir. Let me introduce our anchor after our anchor of the WCOP. I would say. So, Professor BG Reddy sir has completed his PG and PhD from the Department of Psychology, Sri Venkateswara University, Andhra Pradesh. Joined as lecturer in 1985, promoted as reader and professor of psychology in the same university. He held the position of director twice in the university. He served in the same university for more than 30 years. Taught BEd, MEd, MSc Psychology students, guided 17 PhD and 18 MPhil students. He has also written 14 psychology textbooks to Telugu Academy, Hyderabad. He is the founder and General Secretary for Indian Academy of Psychologists, founder, president of Inspire Professional Psychology Society of India, founder, president of Superannuated Psychology Society of India. He is also founder, honorary president of Unemployed Psychologist Society of India, and founder, president of World Congress of Psychologists. On the above, the four psychology associations, he also organized many workshops, national and international conferences. In that year 2020 alone, conducted 35 national webinars, and they were well organized. So personally organized 55 physical awareness programs in the schools, colleges, and universities. As a psychologist and lawyer, he extended counseling services to more than 1,800 families, including students programs. So he also has published more than 60 research papers in different journals. So I heartily welcome such an amicable and learned personality to have as the resource person. So I request BG Reddy sir to continue with his speech and training.
Thank you, Rama Devi, for introducing me so nicely and effectively.
Welcome, sir.
Today's topic is stages of counseling process. Then second one is structuring the counseling relationship. Third one, led by the counselor. Then fourth one is counseling setup. How the counseling setup should be there. So these 4 topics I am going to cover. So though I have announced 4 topics, but I will complete it in within that stipulated time. Nothing to worry.
Sir, can you repeat, sir? Phases of counseling?
Stages of counseling process.
Mhm.
Then structuring the counseling relationship. Then lead skills by the counselor. Then counseling setup. So
Okay, sir.
as you all know that, know the meaning of counseling. Here, counseling means here it is nothing but a process being involved between the counselor and the client. Here, the counselor is a trained person, matured person. He has a lot of patience. He's a qualified person. So he, because he is the person, because of his personality, outward personality and inward personality plays a major role as far as this counselor is concerned. Characteristics of the counselor also plays a major role. But physically sound enough and as well as mentally sound enough. That is another one of the best characteristics of the counselor. Whereas coming to the counseling, as you all know that he suffers with one problem or the other. Either he might be suffering with any family issue, or he might be suffering with any academic issue, or whatever it might be, but he is mentally ill. He is not sound enough, but physically he might be all right. But here mentally he is ill, and because of his confusion, conflicts, he could not be able to solve his own problem. So that's why he approached the trained counselor. Trained counselor. Here, you know the meaning now. You got the point now. Now, counseling is nothing but a process. Here, process means there are different types of models are there. Different types of models are there. Psychoanalytic model is there. Then Rogerian client-centered model is there. Then interpersonal model is there. Cognitive model is there. Like this, different models are there. But in any of the models, see here process means there are about 5 stages or 5 phases. So these 5 phases are quite common in almost all the models or approaches which I have announced now. Here in almost all the phases, the counselor should be trained enough and he should be in a position to chalk out his own skills, techniques. So in order to find out the appropriate solution for the client's problem. Majority of the counseling psychologists, they have proposed this 5-stage model only, 5-stage model only. Here, these 5-stage models I am announcing, one is attending, second one is exploration, third one is understanding, fourth one is facilitating action, final one is termination. In almost all these counseling process, the counselor should be in a position to resolve 3 aspects. One is perceptual, then emotional behavior, then third one is rational behavior. So these 3 things the counselor should always keep in his mind. So ultimately, he should resolve, he should find out the solution for the client. Here, on the whatever might be the model, either psychoanalytic model or behavioristic model or Rogerian model or whatever cognitive model or interpersonal model. But the 5 stages are quite common. But here, it depends. The emphasis on the techniques which the counselor is using a little bit change, little bit difference. But the phases are same. Here coming to the one thing I am telling you, I already told you, counselor should be a trained person. He should be a qualified person. He should lot of patience enough. And at the same time, by seeing the appearance itself, the client also evinces a lot of interest towards him. But here, when the counselor is a qualified person and trained person, I told you, 5 phases. A trained person, a qualified person, a matured person. So he will proceed from 1st stage to 5th stage without any problem. You will not stuck to any of the either second stage or third stage. Suppose the counselors are not competent enough, definitely they will stuck to second phase or they will stuck to third phase. Even if they stuck at the second phase, they will not move to third phase. So that is the difference between a trained counselor as well as the untrained counselor. Counseling process, is a quite sensitive issue, quite sensitive one. All people cannot extend counseling services. Maturity, training, lots of patience. So all the characteristics of the counselor. An outward personality plays a major role as well. It influences the total counseling process. It influences the client also. So that means I'm just whether here whether it is a short-term counseling or long-term counseling, the stages are same. That all depends on the nature of the problem. Then at times, the clients come with small problems. At times, the clients comes with a lengthy problem. But whatever the problem might be, whether it is a short-term counseling or long-term counseling, these stages are same. But the emphasis by the counselor, it differs. Right? Coming to here, behavioral therapists. I'm talking about behavioral therapists. They used to give much emphasis to stage 1, stage 2, and stage 4. Stage 4. Here they give much emphasis. Stage 1, attending. Then stage 2. Stage 2 means exploration, and stage 4 means facilitating action. Whereas coming to the Gestalt therapists, they will give priority for 1, 2, 3. So these stages, of course, 5 stages will be there, but here, depending on the nature of the approach or model or type of counseling technique, they will give much of emphasis to these stages. So here coming to, I told you, stage 1, attending. So that means the counselor is sitting in a counseling room, and here the client with a problem is approaching the counselor or approaching the clinic. Here, the beginning itself, the counseling process begins with just a formal meeting. Formal meeting, formal meeting means a formal meeting and informal meeting. There is a lot of difference. So, but here, a formal meeting, it plays a major role. Right? Then, first contact between the counselor and the client is most important, and it will be having its own impact on the later contacts. I'm telling you, first contact is the best contact, and it will be having its own impact on later contacts. And all the time we used to say that well begun is half done. This is a proverb we used to apply to in another occasions also. Here also, first contact between the counselor and the counselee, it will be having its significant impact coming to the later contacts also. Here, a warm and trustworthy relationship, a warm and trustworthy, a body language of the counselor plays a major role. His language plays a major role. Manners plays a major role. All this plays a major role as far as this, in order to establish a just warm and trustworthy relation should be maintained, and it will continue. It will continue till the counselor achieves the goal, what he wanted to achieve as far as this counseling is concerned. Here, the counselor should be wise enough, trained enough, knowledgeable man. I told you. Here this first phase itself, first stage itself, the 3 aspects. First one, empathy. Second one, respect towards counseling. Then concreteness of the problem. So these 3 aspects we should involve in the counseling process by the counselor. So, the difference mainly sympathy and empathy. Sympathy is only verbal, but empathy means we are extending some help. So that is the difference. But here empathy, concreteness, respecting the counselee is most important. Is most important. So here the counselor is wise enough. He should apply these three skills as far as the first phase is concerned. And here counselor should also be aware, I already told you, aware of the client's manners, the behaviors, the body language, and outward personality and manners is important. And similarly, client should also aware of the counselor's manners, the counselor's body language, the counselor's almost all characteristics. So both these people should also know each other about their outward characteristics as well as internal characteristics. Then only the process becomes a quite intact one, intact one. And at the same time, the first phase itself, the counselor should be wise enough. He should allow the client to talk freely. Allow the client to talk freely. There are people just question by question, the counselor used to put toward the counseling. So once question by question put by the counselor, then automatically the client just gets a kind of irritation. And he may, even in the first stage itself, he may just run away from the counseling situation. So that means we should allow, we should permit. And the role of the counselor is minimized. You should give a kind of freedom, freeness to the client to express his own problems. That is most important, right? Then, and coming to the end of this first stage, that is introduction, attending. The counselor, through interaction with the client, he could be able to know what are the needs and wants of the client and where the client experiencing a critical problem. So before ending of this first stage, and the counselor should have that understanding, the problem of the client thoroughly. Then he is proceeding to the second one, that is exploration. Exploration. Here, the major focus is on techniques. The techniques have to be applied by the counselor. Why? Because in the first, before ending of the first stage itself, he could be able to know the problem of the client thoroughly. And later coming to the second stage, automatically he should be in a position or chalk out what are the techniques or strategies to be applied towards the counseling. That is most important. And here, first stage itself is I told you, well begun is half done. So in the beginning, first phase itself, they should have a trustworthy relationship. Intact, they should understand each other. Oh, I came to a right person. Definitely, I can just get a solution to my problem. So that means that is the impression the client should develop before the end of the session, first session. This is most important. And once that contact establishment, that is relationship is being established, then automatically coming to the second stage, the client just again, he just proceeds and open up with the self-disclosure. He wanted to express everything. In the beginning, is a little bit whether to tell this point or not, or whether to tell this point or not, he is a little bit in confusion. But once a kind of bondship is established, that is nothing but counseling process. Then the client proceeding, evincing interest on the counselor, and in toto, he wanted to pour out regarding his own problem. He wanted to tell. So that means that from deeper level about this problem the client is being expressing. Then, and before end of this second stage, the client he himself could be able to know the incongruities of his own thoughts and his own behavior. And what are the thoughts? It is rather not coinciding with his own behavior. That he wanted to identify. He identified before completion of this second stage. So that is the most important because he should know his own faults. Then only again he will be proceeding to the next step. Now, second step is also here client just is opening up and he could already identify what are the problems he's getting, mainly gets problematic to his own thoughts and behavior. And also the counselor also evinces us a little bit and he also chalk out his own techniques in order to solve the problem of the client. With that, second stage is over. Then coming to the third stage. Third stage is nothing but influencing new understanding. Here, coming to the third stage, the counselor is showing much more interest in expressing these repressed feelings. And at the same time, the role of the counselor is more important here. And the counselor should encourage the client like anything. He should encourage. And he should express his own feelings. He should express his own thoughts. And what are the thoughts just making him to go in a negative direction? And what are the thoughts making a problem to the behaviors of that client? So he should also know all these things in an effective manner. So before, that means effective listening of the counselor is most important. That is most important. Counselor should be he should be listening. He should all the time, he should minimize his own talk. He should minimize his own language. He should minimize just indirectly, he will be listening. Attentively, he should go on listening. Give top priority for the client to express his own problems, thoughts, feelings. That is most important as far as this, third stage, that is influencing a new understanding. So that means the understanding is established thoroughly before completion of this third stage. So that it's nothing but therapeutic contact. Understand? Therapeutic contact. So therapeutic contact is nothing but is one of the best leading skill used by the counselor. So with this, we are just completing the third stage. Now we are just entering into the fourth stage, that is facilitating action. Facilitating action means, before completion of this third stage, the counselor could be able to know his problem thoroughly. And he felt very happy. My problem, I could able to know. And here is a counselor, he can help me. I can resolve the problem through his help. So that means he's a little bit jubilant also, happy. And coming to this fourth stage, he needs less assistance, not required much more assistance. Less assistance is enough. So that means here, he will make use of, the client will make use of the opportunity with the help of the counselor. And here, the counselor, here in this stage, he should use simple language. Not, he's not supposed to use bombastic language. No. Here the client, you see, observe the client, here uneducated or educated or half educated. Depending on the nature of the client's education, the counselor should use language. He should use simple language. He should use a simple language. Now, That is, and before completion of this fourth stage, okay, the client earlier he was suffering with the negative feelings. Now he just identified his own mistakes, where the problem lies, and he is from negative feelings to positive feelings. He could be able to know coming before completion of this fourth stage, right? So, and at the same time, he goes on practicing in a sense positive behaviors. Oh, I am all right. I am all right. So now my behavior is okay. I am all right. So I have no problem at all. Just my mind is clear now. My all negative thoughts are just gone off. No, I am just with positive feeling. So before completion of that fourth stage, he should be just come to that feeling. Then last one, termination stage. Termination stage is not a very simple one. Once the client achieves the clarification of his own problem, at times, if at all you ask him to come for next session, he will not come. Why? Because he got the answer. Or at times he may come. Or at times he may attend the just again session. But at the same time, coming to the final stage, some clients again. So some clients, they may also feel a little bit difficulty in practicing the positive behaviors. Again, the counselor should help you by applying the technique interpretation, by applying the technique summarization, by applying the technique that is a reflection or restatement of the statement by the counselor. So these are all most important. And each stage, the counselor should talk less. He should give the suggestion wherever he requires. That too, when the client requests the counselor. But here, on the whole, in toto, the business of the counselor is just eliciting the alternative solutions for the client's problem. So here, who is eliciting? Counselor is eliciting the solutions for the client's problem, and clients expressed 3 or 4 alternative problems. And here again, the business of the counselor is he has to direct, influencing, understanding these techniques he has to use in selecting among the 4 solutions put forth by the client. The client, he himself is the right person to choose the right solution. So that is the capability of the counselor. Counseling means just not giving advice, not giving solution directly. No. All people, that's what I am telling you, all people cannot give. Only trained people, matured people, educated people, a lot of, they should have all body manners, everything. There should be a lot of patience enough. Right? So that is by that is last one, termination. So termination, once the client obtains solution, then he may not come back also. And he may again come and he will say thanks to the counselor also. That is, there are certain people. But some people, they also feel little bit difficultiness from positive behaviors to, from negative behaviors to the positive behaviors. And when another very important point I'm telling you, suppose with your the counselor, I'm a counselor, the client may not satisfy with my counseling. Then the counselor, he himself wise enough, okay, are you not happy? You better go to some other person. He's a matured person. He should direct the client. Why? Because the client is not satisfied with you. And you should not curse. You will not, hey, you are a muddy fellow. You are just a waste fellow. You are not supposed to scold that fellow. So that means when he is not satisfied, you gently just direct him to go to another counselor. That is the maturity of the counselor. So this is the 4 stages of counseling, right? I think 5 stages. I think everybody has to just got clarification. Now I am entering into structuring counseling relationship. Some structures are there in the counseling relationship. One should follow these structures, these 4 structures. Then only we can call it as a just a highly good counseling process. Otherwise, when you have not followed these structures, here there is a research done by one Brahmer and Sostrom way back in the 1987. And the gentleman, after doing a lot of research, he has identified 4 limits. Under that, first one is time limit. Second one is action limit. Third one is role limit. And fourth one is procedure limit. Time limit, first one. You know, the moment the client enters into the counseling room, and you know, the counselor is wise enough, you might be a big man. You might be charging more, but today, people without proper training, they are charging more. That is the scenario we are facing, but they do not know the subject. They do not know proper counseling. Okay, fine. Let us not bother about it. Here, once the client enters into the counseling room, but the counselor is wise enough and with pleasant, and he should receive him and ask him to see, just to give his offer a seat with pleasantness. So that is most important, right? But at the same time, once the client comes and sat before the counselor, and there are people who are talking. Sir, you are from which place? What is your name? What is your qualification? Are you married? Are you just like that? Go on putting questions that is totally wrong. He has no knowledge about it. He's an unfit counselor, I can say. So that's why I told he should minimize. He should minimize. So it's long ways. Minimize his long ways, responses, and talk. But he should give priority for the client. So that means, and you know, for first program, he should plan, say 45 minutes. And depending on the nature of the problem, I told you, there is a short-term, small problem, and there is a long problem, long-term problem is there. So here for first session, he has allocated just half an hour. And he should also plan how many half an hours is required to the counseling or to solve that problem is most important. That is nothing but the time limit. He should be cautious enough. He should know. Without knowing that goes on talking. He gets irritated. The counselor gets irritated, and I don't think so. He may not come for another session. So that might. So the counselor should be wise enough as far as this time sense. And we have seen in just in our there are people just mania. Just once they give mic to that people, they go on talking, they will forget about the time. So that is another, there are type of people, but in counseling session also, there are such people are there. But you know, that is totally wrong. You should know time limit, plan of action, how many sessions are required is most important. That is time limit. Then coming to the action limit, second one, very important one. You know, the client has come to the counseling clinic and is there a problem with regard to his own father. The boy has come to the counseling session and there is a problem between him as well as his own father. And you know, about that problem, the client is go on just telling about the problem faced by his own father. And you know, while expressing his own agony, pent-up agony problem, naturally, he might have suffered a lot. This boy has suffered a lot with his father's behavior. You know, at the same time, unconsciously, you know, majority of our behavior is being determined by unconscious process only. I think many of you might be knowing, you are all psychologists. So, through interaction, expressing about his own problem, which he suffers with his own father. So he goes on explaining, and at times, this boy who is a client, and at the same time, just flares up with a loud voice also. No, but here the counselor should be wise enough. He should control the voice of the client. If it doesn't control, then automatically it leads to further action. And at times, in counseling process, and because of this unconscious behavior, and at times even the client lifts this chair and imagining his own father as counselor, then he used to indulge in so many just ugly situations. So that means here action limits. So we should control. We should control. The counselor is wise enough to control the verbal behavior at that stage itself. So second one. Third one is role limits. Okay. I served many a times a director. I served many organizations. I might be a vice chancellor. I might be just some specialist. I might be a so rich man. No, all these things you forget about when you are entering into the counseling situation, counseling clinic. Your role is just a counselor. No. Forget about all the roles which you have enacted outside. But once you are entering into this counseling situation, you should limit yourself as a counselor only. Then only you will be successful in the counseling situation. Then coming to the fourth one, procedural limits. Procedural limits. In this procedure, under any circumstances, the counselor is not supposed to blame the client. Mind it. Hey, you listen to me. What are you talking? Like that, you should not speak as a counselor. You should not blame the client. All the time you should be cheerful, pleasant, body language, manners, movements, everything. And at the same time, you should not blame. You should not blame. Then here, particularly, once the client enters into the counseling setup, his past experiences are more important in order to give solution to the problem of the client, past experiences. That's why we'll prepare a case study with the past history, right? So past experiences are also plays a major role in the counseling procedure, okay? And at the same time, you should not get irritated with the client. And you should always, your emotions should be so pleasant. Should always little bit smiling. Don't lose your emotion. Then you should allow the client to express totally. Freedom of expression should be given to the client. Freedom of expression. So these are all 4 areas the counselor should allow or permit the client. And at times the client comes to the counseling setup and he is not sure that what to talk and what not to talk. And if at all the counselor asks, okay, gentlemen, okay, what is your name? I'm very happy to see you. Like that, he just a little bit of conversation, and he should also develop a kind of rapport with the client. And then apart from that, the client he's in dilemma and what to speak and what not to speak, and how to just put forth my problem to the counselor. So he could not be able to express his own problem. Under those circumstances, the counselor is wise enough. Hey, gentlemen, I am a family counselor. Just I am here to help the problem related to your family, to your wife, or with your husband. Like that, the counselor should express his own role. This is a service I am rendering towards the clients, he should tell. Then automatically, if the problem, with the same problem, the client has come to that clinic, then automatically, then he will proceed. The client will be proceed and he can express his own problems. So I am talking about the structuring of the relationship, structuring of the counseling relationship. Here, number one, time limit, action limit, then role limit, then last one is procedural limits. These four are, it is nothing but the structure. Healthy one should follow. Only trained counselors can follow. All just off-trained or like that immature people are not just follow these, and they are not just unfit to be counselors, I am saying. Only trained people, educated, well-educated, qualified. So what not? I have been telling all the characteristics of, there are other characteristics of the counselor are also there. Now, coming to the another important aspect which the counselor is supposed to introduce as far as the counseling process is concerned, he should be wise enough to use lead skills. Lead skills in the sense, really through these lead skills applied by the counselor, the client would be able to get a kind of satisfaction, impression. Oh, I came to a right person. Definitely, by seeing his behavior, body language, the way he is speaking, definitely I will get a solution for my problem. So when the counselor is wise enough is to use these lead skills. See, that lead skills cannot be used as and when according to the whims and fancies of the counselor. These lead skills can also be used as and when just it is required, depending on the nature of the circumstances in the counseling process. You should use here lead skills. Real coming to the that is a really it is an emphasis. It gives much emphasis to the counseling relationships. These lead skills are, and when you are using these lead skills, also risk is also there. I am telling you, suppose you are not wise enough to use these lead skills as and when required, or as and when not required. This is most important. You are not supposed to use these lead skills as and when you wanted to use it. No, then you will become a failure counselor. Right? So lead skills here is the heart of the counseling process. And the counselor should be dynamic, intelligent. Right? So that's why I told you, all these lead skills can be used by the trained counselor only, not all. Not all. Training is required. That's why today the WCO has come forward. We are extending 3 months counseling training program on this school counseling. So once another 4 to 5 sessions are there, and once you complete this 3 months training program, no doubt 90% of the problems are going to be solved by you trained people. I'm happy that at least 25 people have completed this training, and the WCOP have prepared 25 an eminent psychologist as far as this school's counseling is concerned. We are really proud of announcing. Yeah, we are rendering yeoman service towards you, sir, madams. Once one day you will realize how much pain we have taken, the WCOP members have taken pain. That to running the course on free of cost, per program, just 1,000 rupees. It is just, we are just updating to YouTube also. For technical people, we are paying 750 rupees, and for preparation of brochure, 250. And and we are not at all paying here, not even a single pie to the resource person for your information. At least, For their cadre, at least per session, you should give us 1,000 rupees. So 1,000 here, 1,000 means 2,000 rupees per session we are incurring towards this program. So totally 3 months training program is 25 sessions into 2,000, 50,000. Just happily we have come forward to train you. We really feel proud of ourselves, WCOP. And you're all luckiest people, I can say. Right. Then coming to the lead skills, first one is information giving. Information giving, when the counselor is supposed to give information to the client, as and when if it is necessary only, the counselor is supposed to give information to the client. That too, that information is quite helpful to the problem of the client. Otherwise, you should not give information given. Number one, lead skill. Number two, here, a restatement. Here, restatement, I told you. Restatement, oh, gentlemen, you are facing this problem. Now you have changed your negative behavior to positive behavior. So, negative behavior to positive behavior. Now that you have become all right. So, earlier you developed a kind of negative attitudes to your own father. Now, you have developed a positive attitude towards your father with lots of affection, love and affection. That statement, the counselor is supposed to repeat so that it will be imprinted the brain of the client. That is nothing but restatement. And reflection is also another skill here. Reflection means what the counselor just is using is also be helpful, meaningful one only. And the statement gives a kind of meaning that is nothing but a reflection in the counseling process. This is a second lead skill. Then coming to the third one, giving advice. No, giving advice as and when the client requests the counselor only, he should give a little bit of advice. No, he should not give. No, I am here to help you. Don't worry. I will give some my own ideas. I will give my own suggestions, advices. Nothing to worry. I will definitely solve your problem. I should not say like that. There lies the wrong. There lies the problem. As and when the client requests you, then only little advice has to be given by the counselor. All right. Then direct questioning. Next one is direct questioning. There are people, I think you might have seen so many types of people. There are people directly they will ask you, frankly, no, would you mind giving your pen? Would you mind giving me 10 rupees? Would you mind giving me your book? But but there are people, see, if you go downtown, then why don't you bring down some just a coconut and flowers for our puja so that half of the punya you will get. This is indirect question. Don't. Instead, oh, you are going to the town, kindly bring one coconut and flowers for our puja. Enough. That is direct question. So indirect question, it affects the mentality of the client. What is there you are requesting? Directly ask, what is there? What is wrong in it? Why do you want to just put half of the punya, you will get half of the, all nonsense. Frankness is most important as far as the counseling situation is concerned. That is another skill. Then influencing and persuading. Oh, this one is important one. Influencing and persuading. These two skills, as and when, see here, the client thoroughly understand the problem of the client, of his own. Then here the counselor can influence the solution and gives a kind of a support to that solution through the influence of the counselor. Then only you should influence the positive behavior. And also use the persuading technique also in order to strengthen the solution of the client. That is nothing but influencing and persuading. Then coming to the reassurance. So once the client changed from negative behaviors to positive behaviors and is practicing positive behaviors, then only the counselor is supposed to use this technique, reassurance. Oh, gentlemen, here afterwards, there may not be any problem. You will not go back to the negative feeling. Definitely, now you are just practicing and positive behaviors. Now you are hale and healthy. Now you are healthy. So your earlier when you come to the counseling situation, you are physically healthy, but mentally not healthy. But now, after coming to this stage, you are both physically healthy as well as mentally healthy. Mentally also healthy. That means reassurance. Oh, here afterwards, I don't think so. Even this type of negative behaviors may not repeat as far as your behavior is concerned. Your behavior in the sense blind. That is nothing but reassurance. Then coming to interpretation. Here, gentlemen, madam, just ladies and gentlemen, interpretation is nothing but summarization. Interpretation is nothing but restatement. That means you are interpreting. So that means he is switching over to positive behaviors. And again, he is switching over to positive behaviors. Again, you are supposed to interpret in a positive way. Then only you are supposed to use that skill, interpretation. So that it adds a strength to the positive behaviors of the client. Then coming to the problem clarification. Problem clarification, once the client achieves clarification and he got the solution, and here is totally free from problems. Got clarification. No problem at all later on. He switched over from negative to positive behaviors. And he can lead his life with his family members happily. So that is another, that is problem clarification means he should be more mentally sound enough. Then final one is summarizing. Summarizing, very brief. You should not, the counselor should not use A to Z. No, it should be brisk, summarizing. Okay, gentlemen, you have come with this problem. Now, just on your own, you have just selected your own alternatives. Among the 4 alternatives, you yourself have selected a final one. So you are really just, you have achieved what you wanted to achieve. That is nothing but summarization. That's enough. And you should not give just here more clarification or anything. Yes, now, so far we have covered phases or stages, that is 5 stages. Structuring. Structuring means their time limits, role limits, action limits, procedural limits. Then coming to lead skills, 10 lead skills I have explained to you now. Then coming to the last one, here, appearance of the counseling room. Appearance of the counseling room. Here it covers a lot. Appearance of the counseling are also appearance of the client counselor also. Appearance means, there are people, I think, many of the people are having so much of aesthetic skills, aesthetic sense. Light colors always is quite a good one for the counseling room, light colors. And there are people, these dark colors, red, black, all these things, it is not good. Light colors. It should be, the counseling room should be quite appealing, and it should gives a kind of pleasantness. And lighting also, just we are not supposed to put 200 volts bulb. No, not necessary. Pleasant one. Aesthetics, and the dress, manners, the behaviors, the language, the characteristics of the counselor is most important in the counseling setup. Okay. That is appearance. Then, seating arrangements. Coming to the seating arrangement, some clients, they are submissive. Some clients, they are dominative. So suppose the client is so submissive, and he prefers a table in between the client and the counselor. Submissive man. Dominant man, no, he will not prefer. No problem. The table is not required. Chair is there for in opposite direction. He will sit. There will not be any problem. Seating arrangements should be like. But a very good table, very good chair, and in that room, some kind of just some photos which really promotes counseling. So a kind of aesthetic sense is most quite appealing that it provides a kind of pleasantness to the client, right? And at the same time, privacy and legal and ethical aspects have to be maintained by the counselor. This is most important. And at the same time, he should not reveal any of the problems or any of the just matters related to the client to others. And there is already the other day I also told libel and slander. These two are the acts which are quite applicable as far as the counseling process is concerned. But in India, here still the counseling situation is in a just not emerged properly, though it was in 1970s the counseling psychology subject emerged, but it basically emerged from USA only. And later in 1970 onwards, here in India, counseling process, counseling psychology is being just developing. And still, as far as the counseling skills and counselors' roles, just were still I think through this WCOP, I think we are going to achieve what we wanted to achieve. So that means here counseling setup is also most important for the effectiveness of the counseling process. So this is also, and sometimes recording. Suppose a counselor wanted to record it. So now we are just daily 20 programs we have recorded and uploaded to the YouTube also. And this through this in a way, it is quite helpful to the those people who have given lectures and people who have given training programs. Like that, similarly in counseling situation also, it is quite helpful for the counselors in order to rectify their own mistakes. But some clients, they will object. No question of recording, sir. Like that, they will object. When the client is objecting, but at the same time, you are not supposed to use it. Don't go for record. So that means a kind of here, freedom of movement, body language by the counselor is also important. So one should be careful as far as this counseling. It is highly sensitive one also, an important one also. But above all, the characteristics of the counselor plays a major role as far as the counseling process is concerned. All people cannot act as counselors, right? So with this, I think I have given you 4 areas. I think you might have all understood. Any questions you can please ask me, or any clarifications.
Sir, I have a question.
Please.
Sir, you were talking about giving some not advice exactly when the client is not sure of what is the problem is exactly. And in some cases, they are not aware what they are actually facing. So is it necessary for us to educate them and give awareness of the problem?
Naturally. See, a patient comes, an alcoholic addicted fellow, he will come to the counseling situation. Though in Indian system, see, for example, there is a vast difference between Telangana state and Andhra Pradesh. Even I visited one of our students' houses also. There, this 2-storied building means they have allocated one room for this, this alcohol. And there you can find in Albaros in such a manner, all types of drinks are there. And when their children are coming from abroad also, they also getting down some bottles which are from abroad also. And for them, here taking alcohol, if any of the friends or visitors comes to their homes, and all people, total family members, and in that upstairs room, one room is there. Just I have visited many of the just my own psychology students. One military man also, he was there. He underwent a psychology program, and he was in charge for many profession just industries also. So he came to Bangalore bus stand, and he took me to his own place, and there also he offered me. But I'm a poor fellow. I am not having the habit of taking drinks. But there are nothing wrong in it. And all the friends, my student, another student who have completed B.Ed under my guidance, for which I have gone to their classes also. So there we went, 3 or 4 of our faculty members, we went to his house also. There, the evening, they have prepared all items, food items, and they brought up to the upstairs, and all family members, they just sat with us, and little 1 ounce or 2 ounces, whatever the type of drink they need, they have taken, and that was the custom. But here, coming to the alcoholic, he is not of that type, but he is morning to evening till night, he go on just taking alcohol. That is different. But here, such a person, when he comes to the counseling situation, he feels a little bit guilty to open up as far as this problem is concerned. Sir, I am alcoholic addict. He cannot. Under these circumstances, the counselor is wise enough. What made you to not to reveal your problem? May you know? So pleasantly, just you should ask. Or else, if he knows that he's an alcoholic addict, no, nothing to worry. Taking alcohol is not a just crime. So that is not an issue. But you can open up and tell your problem. And even apart from that, if he says open up and tell, and at times some of the clients, they will not open up their mouth. Under these circumstances, again, the counselor should go in little bit advanced step. Hey, what is there wrong in it? Taking an alcohol is not a problem. We being anyone for that matter, including myself, at times occasionally at times of functions, I used to take, that is nothing wrong in it. Like that, if you reveal, then he feels, oh, here is my friend. Then I can tell, I can open up. Then he comes forward. Or else he should tell the type of profession, service he is extending towards his own clinic. Generally, they know here what type of service being a counselor is extending. Now you are extending family counseling. And similarly, there is a de-addiction centers are there. They're just taking up such type of problems. They know pretty well. But at times, if at all, they may not know. Unknowingly, they have come. And these type of problems may arise. Under these circumstances, nothing wrong in it. The counselor can open up. Then only he will open up his own mouth and tell his own problem. Otherwise, it will not, he will not open. Their purpose will not be served. So that is the, just one can use that technique also. What else?
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, what else? Any other participant? At least you give me a feedback.
Sir, one second role.
Pardon?
One explain the role limits of structuring of the counseling relationship.
Structuring of the
Role limits of in the structuring
role limits, see, you might be a headmistress or headmaster or principal or vice chancellor, but you have studied psychology. You have put up a board that you are extending counseling. for the people. And then you see, I'm telling you, majority of the IAS people, their psychology is they are in a dictate. They are always in a dictating level only. If at all, even my being a professor had went and approached the collector, he will not listen. But he will impose as a collector. He will direct us. He will direct us. So that means such type of people, they are unfit to be counselors. No, he might be authoritative person, but here in the counseling situation, you are really unfit if you behave like that. If you come here to dictate, no, utter flop, failure. That's why role limits. You should forget about you might be acted as a collector, you might have rendered as a DAG or whatever it might be, or professor, or vice chancellor, or whatever it might be. But here, your role is counselor. That is role limit.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right? Any more?
Sir,
Please.
I'm Krishna Prasad from Nellore, sir.
Ah.
Sir, today your subject is very useful to us, sir. The structure of counselor limits and procedural. So it is very useful to us, sir.
Good.
Sir, I want to say, at present in our state, there are more than 500 above students in each high school. After merging some elementary schools also, as per the government orders. So
Okay.
it is a great need for the psychologists or counselors in every school, sir. So we request on behalf of WCOP or suggested to the government to appoint qualified counselor like us through by any other deputation method or permanent basis.
Yeah. You are right. You are right. I'm coming to your point. See, first of all, before writing down to government, first let us train many of psychologists. First training. Let our people get training, obtain training.
Okay.
Once our people gets training, say school psychology, 25 people now that underwent training. So whatever the type of problem are related to school students or whole curriculum or students parents problem, you are in a position to solve it. Right. Then
Yes.
under next session, I'm going to announce after talking to our chair, our Vedagiri Ganeshan sir. So I am going to give you another topic, a very important current topic. So like this batch wise, suppose if anyone of you are interested in school counseling, your friends, again, one more session I'm prepared to run, 25 batch. And simultaneously, two problems at a stretch, two problems. That means in a 3 months course, two problems we are going to give training. See, our own ambition is let all the cycles get training. At least per year, if you just give training to some 1,000 or 1,500 or 2,000, enough. Another 4 or 5 years, definitely at least 30 to 40% of the psychologists are with sound enough with the training skills. Enough. You can do wonders. You can do some kind of service to the society. So with that motto, the WCOP is just proceeding. Right? Okay. I think, what about Ramadevi? Just you propose a vote of thanks and we'll close this session.
So are you going to start UG and PG counseling as well?
UG?
And PG, sir.
UG and PG psychology, you mean?
Yes, sir, yes.
You see, here, in India, I can say, our Tamil Nadu state, they are having psychology subject to UG at PG level, 47 colleges they have introduced, 47 throughout Tamil Nadu state. But here, in Andhra Pradesh, hardly 3-4 affiliated colleges and just 2-3 universities. You see, and similarly Karnataka, similarly Telangana. This is the fate of the just. But I think I have circulated one news item related to this Tamil Nadu. Particularly with this, since 3 years we have been experiencing COVID. So with this COVID, the services of psychologists have increased like anything. So that's why in colleges, earlier they used to get 200 applications. Now they are getting 2,000 applications, either at UG or at PG. So that means day by day, the importance of psychologists is increasing like it. I'm happy. Of course, we can do through WCOP. First of all, we should train at least 3-4 batches, and you are the just right people to propagate own. But we are not at all giving to any newspapers. We are only giving to social media only. Social media itself enough for us. And I think by this time you might have given just
hot box la rice undi
people, many friends of you. So naturally, once we again going for this school counseling one batch as well as another title, another batch, definitely people will come forward. With that positiveness, I am assuring you, I am happy. Right.
Good evening, sir. I would like to give a small feedback.
Please.
Good evening to all. Thank you so much, Professor B.J. Reddy, sir, for explaining us stages of counseling phases, structuring counseling relationship, lead skills by counselor, and counseling setup with simple language. Well explained the behavior of a counselor and counselee. So yes, we are very lucky to have such wonderful, informative, knowledgeable sessions with eminent psychologists through WCOP. We are indebted to you for your tireless services to the upcoming psychologists. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much once again.
I should also thank you all for your nice words.
Excuse me, sir, one more question from sir.
Please.
Sir, actually, is it that only we can guide MSc psychology students only for this school counseling, or else we can ask any of the teachers to be a part of this, sir?
No, only psychology who underwent degree psychology, they are the right people. They know the subject.
Okay.
They know the subject. They
Yes,
why? Because I think you all just underwent a psychology program.
Yes,
That's
yes.
why today I told all the counseling processes, techniques, role limits, everything. You could be able to understand well. Whereas
Yes.
non-psychologist cannot understand. That is the difference.
Okay. Sir. Thank you, sir.
Counseling can be given by anyone for that matter. No,
Okay.
but if time permits, I will take do's and don't do's of counseling also in the coming sessions by your completion of this our 3 months training program. Right?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. That is also most important for the counselor.
Yes.
Yeah. Shall I conclude?
I would like to give my feedback, sir.
Please.
Sir, actually, this is the session where I got the overall picture of the counseling psychology. Thank you very much, sir. It was a very wonderful session. We should thank you a lot, because I really got the overall picture of what the psychologists have to do, and everything. We got a proper picture of counseling and a counselor. Thank you very much, sir.
Right. Thank you. Thank you.
Any questions, any feedbacks?
Yes, ma'am. This is the this is the session where a lot of items were dealt by our sir, B.G. Reddy sir. So many topics were covered: setup for counseling, structure of counseling, then limits, then lead skills, the appearance of the counselor. This is the most important point which we have not known till today, sir. We have to wear light colors, the room, and all these things are very new to us, sir. This is the most important aspect what you have dealt today, sir. Very nice, and thank you so much for today for enlightening us with a lot of subjects, sir, today. Thank you so
Dear
much.
participants, I am not great here. Through practice only, I could be able to give you this much of information to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's
Through
true, sir.
practice.
But yes, sir, you have shared a lot of knowledge today, sir, in the theory session.
Right,
Thank
right,
you. Thank you, sir.
right. Okay, so kind of you. Then already we have taken much of our time. Okay, Rama Devi, please.
Yes, sir. So before I give my vote of thanks, I would like to give us a brief summary of the session. That was indeed a wonderful session and educative session. Sir has discussed about the stages of counseling, where he discussed about the attending, exploration, understanding, facilitation and termination of the sessions. And also the structuring the relationships in counseling, in which he discussed the ways of structuring it, particularly four limits. The four limits are the time limit, action limit, role limit, and procedure limit, where a counselor plays a very important role in all the stages of all the stages of the counseling process, because the personality, the appearance, everything influences the counseling process and the client. So the lead skills, where they are necessary and where they are not necessary. The client has to get the information, then only we have to give the information. And the restatement, that is repeating about the positive changes he has taken up, that indirectly reflects the meaning to the life of the client, and giving advices. It is only necessary, it is advised not to give any advices directly unless the client asks for. And the counseling setup. So in the counseling setup, in the lead skills, there is no you can give only direct questioning and influencing and persuading, reassurance, interpretation, problem clarification, summarizing. So all these 10 lead skills, wherein when necessary, we have to follow them. I mean, a counselor has to follow them. And the counseling setup, which many of might have been not aware, but this also plays a lead role, because when the person enters into the room, even if we go visit, I mean, like just an example, if we go to someone's house, if you don't feel like anything, if we feel it is clumsy, we don't really feel like sitting for a long time. So the counseling setup is also creates such an environment in the mind of the client, that okay, he feels cool, he feels pleasant, so that I can express my things. This is the place where I feel serene. So these are the important things which a counselor, especially the counselor, has to follow and has to develop a therapeutic relationship with the client, so that the counselor and the counselee can have a good relationship and the problems can be solved. So this is the summary of the session for today. So I would like to, on behalf of WCOP, I would like to express my gratitude to all the extreme delegates, trainers, for their presence and contribution, taking out their time in their busy schedule. I would like to thank our chief guest, Professor Sivakumar Singde, and I would like to also thank our resource person, BG Reddy Garu, who has given us an ample examples and taken a ample time to explain the importance of counseling and the relationship between the counseling and the counselor. So this platform is helping many teachers or many psychologists to improve their skills and implement them in their cases, or in their even at their homes, with the children or anyone, or we can give advice to the teachers who need help. And the techniques are really helpful. So as sir has said, well begun is half done. So practice also makes a man perfect. So please do practice all the techniques. Please do practice in your profession, or please do practice in your homes. They really make us feel satisfied. So this is all for today. I wish you all a very happy night and a very pleasant Sunday.
Okay, good night, everybody.
Good night, sir.
Thank you, Rama. They have rendered a lot of good service today.
Thank you, sir. My pleasure.
Yeah, right.